I've been trying to wrap my head around making this recipe for the past year, and finally I decided to give it a go. This is short rib agnolotti. To start, you need some good short rib. These are a little bit fatty. I'm drying them off as well, but I'm just going to come in here and quickly just cut off some of the fat on these short ribs. You don't really need to do it for the recipe because you're not serving these as just a dish of short rib. You're going to throw these into a food processor, but just to help get a little better sear, I'm going to go in and pull off some of that silver skin and cut off a little bit of that fat. It'll help it with the searing process, and it'll overall just give you a better end product, but trust me, it is not absolutely required. I'm going to hit them with a little bit of salt and pepper as well. I'll give them a little more when they're in the searing process. I don't love to get all sides done right now. It just doesn't really work for me for this recipe, but do it however you please. And now I'm just going to cut up a little bit of a mirepoix. As we've seen in other short rib videos that I've made here so far, you need a little bit of celery, carrot, onion to really make the stock kind of come together. It's like any other kind of stock here. So I just have one carrot, I had two medium-sized stalks of celery, and I have one Spanish onion or a yellow onion, whatever you have. I wouldn't recommend a white or a sweet onion, but do whatever you want and just cut up any size you want. It really, trust me, does not matter. And once you get those all nice and cut up, this is also what we're going to need, some good quality stock. This is a homemade chicken stock that I recently made, and that's going to go into your pan in a little bit. But first, we're just going to get a good amount of neutral oil in, and we're just going to sear off these short ribs. I'm not looking for an incredible amount of browning. From what I've seen, it really doesn't make a difference in the long run. They're going to really get their nice brown color from that last hour in the oven when they're uncovered. But just get them nice and kind of browned now. However you want to do it, I'm totally fine with. I don't think this step is overwhelmingly important, but this is as far as I wanted to take them. So we're just going to pull them out and we're going to throw them onto a plate while we wait for our next step. With all that good juice and oil left on the bottom, I'm going to toss my veggies right into that. If you don't have enough oil or fat left over on the bottom, just throw in a little more neutral oil. You'll be good to go, but I had plenty left over, so I'm just going to get those in, and we're going to kind of cook them down for maybe 2 to 3 minutes. We don't need to do a ton here. Once they start to look nice and somewhat browned, I'm going to pour in 1 to 2 cups of a red wine, whatever wine you want to use of the red variety is totally fine. Then I'm going to throw in that chicken stock, let that kind of melt down since it was in gelatin form. I'm going to add a little splash also of beef stock that I have. This is just a beautiful bone broth that I recently made, and then we're going to let that come up to temperature. Try to get it to just about boiling. Mine wasn't there yet, but I'm going to load in those pieces of meat now, try to make them all fit. If they fully submerge, that's fine, and I'm going to throw in some of those fat chunks I cut off just to let them get a little bit of flavor. You don't need to do that. You can just dispose of those. 2 bay leaves, and now we're going to throw this in the oven for 2 hours at 350 degrees. Here we are at the 2-hour mark. I'm just going to take a little look at them. I know they're not going to be fully cooked, but I just want to see where they're at. You can tell that sauce still isn't really that rich, dark color it's going to get. The meat is still not very tender, as expected. Totally fine. But now we're going to put this back in the oven for 1 more hour, bringing the total to 3, but we're going to leave it completely uncovered. Here we are after that other hour. You can see that meat now has some great color to it. That's why I don't think the sear is totally necessary. The color of the broth or liquid has really kind of deepened. But from what I can tell, I'm going to stick my fork into these just to make sure they're ready. And they're still not super tender. So I'm going to let these go for another half an hour. And then by that point, here we are, completely ready. This is absolutely perfect. I poured a little more stock in there right around the 2-hour mark. So that's why that water liquid looks a little bit higher. But these are absolutely great now. I'm just going to pull them out, throw them onto a plate to let them cool down a bit because we're going to have to kind of pull them apart to put them into the food processor. So pulling them out is the best way to kind of just let them start to cool down. I'm going to fish out some of those bones just to get them out, and then we're going to strain this liquid through a big strainer into a large kind of vessel you have just because it's easier to do that. I need to put this into a quart container, which I'm going to pour it into now, but trust me, pouring it into something larger first makes it much easier. Putting this into the quart container will also help me separate some of the fat out from what is almost a demi-glace, which is exactly what you're looking for. But to make the interior of the agnolotti now, we're going to throw in a little bit of garlic, a little more olive oil, and now we're going to sweat out and really cook down a whole bag of spinach. I believe this is about a pound's worth. Cook it down, it's going to become almost nothing, and then once you're done cooking it, we're going to pull it out, we're going to throw it on some paper towels, just to make sure that you don't get a really watery gross inside. Here's those paper towels. Throw them just to the side. Pull them out, throw them on there, and just let them kind of sit for the next 10-15 minutes. You want these also to cool down, and while they're cooling down, that extra moisture will get absorbed by the paper towel. Now you can see it's been sitting for a little while here, this liquid, and you can see the separation point between the real nice sauce and kind of that fat and grossness at the top. So I'm going to separate that. I got just a turkey baster here, and we're going to pull it out. If you have one of those actual oil strainer fat separators, use that. But I'm just trying to get it down to the real nice, beautiful kind of liquid gold down there. And see, that's what you're looking for. You can see it's not pure oil in the Pyrex, but it's enough that I wanted to separate it. Coming in now, I'm going to wear some gloves just because they're still a little bit warm. I know you guys get all on me about that, but I'm just going to try to pull apart any sinewy pieces here. Anything like that there that is where the bone wraps around the meat, just get rid of that. It's not going to taste great. It doesn't taste great when you have it as a short rib either, so just pull those away. And now I'm going to put the rest into my food processor. Any little meaty bits, fat is totally fine to also go in there. That's going to be great flavor. Once you do that, we're going to throw all the spinach in. That is also going to be real nice mixed in with this dish. We're going to add a good amount of a pecorino romano. You can use Parmesan if you want. And now we're just going to pulse this up, trying to make a nice little paste. We're going to let this go for a good 5, 10, 15 seconds until you start to see it kind of incorporate. And then we're going to add a little of that oily fat as well as a little bit of the good, beautiful broth and see what we can kind of get. You want it to not be liquidy, but you want to really allow it to incorporate itself. And that's just going to be a beautiful flavor. A little bit of salt in there as well will go a long way at this point, and that's what you're looking for, a beautiful kind of paste. It's almost like tuna fish kind of texture, and that's when you know you're ready to throw this into a piping bag. I'm still working on my piping bag skills here. They're not big enough to wrap around the quart container, so I can't do that technique, but just load it into anything because you'll need to squeeze it out into the agnolotti. And now we're ready for that step. Dough. If you want to look at how I make my pasta dough, I'll post the link to that video below, but this is about a pound's worth of dough. I'm going to cut it into quarters just to make it easier to work with, but err on having more dough than you think you need. Agnolotti makes a lot of waste because you're cutting away a lot of it to make the shape, but we're just going to start with quarters here. I'm going to run it through my pasta roller the same way I did on the other video, so check that out to see the full kind of detailed explanation, but I'm going to run it through on the largest setting. Then I'm going to fold it in on itself, which kind of laminates it and makes it a stronger, nicer dough, and then I'm going to run this pasta through all the different sizes until the second to last thinnest one. You want to be able to see your fingers through it, but not too translucent. And I like to just cut it up to make it a smaller shape to kind of work with. This is the first batch. They were too small. Here's some of the next batch. Really like these. I put them out just kind of medium dollops, a nice thumb space in between. I like to wet the dough, which helps it kind of stick to itself here. And now we're going to roll it over itself. Make sure you have enough excess room on the other side so that you can seal the dough back up. And it'll make it that kind of signature agnolotti shape where that's kind of almost like a scoop. And then we're going to pinch. That's what makes it the del Plin. These are pinched agnolotti del Plin, pinched agnolotti. You pinch those gaps you made, which really makes them seal beautifully. If you feel any air kind of popping out underneath, just reseal it. Go through with the little cutting tool that you're going to need to make these. They're super cheap on Amazon. And then just cut in between them. It's super simple. They're not the most beautiful. You know, is this a skill I need to work on? Absolutely. But they are 100% what I was looking for. Do I need a little practice? Sure. But let's cook these up now. I got some water boiling. When the agnolotti go in, though, I'm going to turn it down. I don't like too hard of a boil for kind of stuffed pastas like this because that almost encourages them to kind of open up. So you'll see me turn the water down. The sauce now is just the base of it is the separated nice side of the chicken, the beef stock that was kind of in there with the short ribs. Get a good amount of it out. We're going to add a little bit of chicken broth into there as well, and then a tiny splash of red wine. And then we're going to bring this basically to like a hard boil in this pan. You really want to reduce this. That's the sauce. It's basically a pan sauce. So cook it the way you would any other pan sauce like I've shown you. Now let's throw in those agnolotti. See, the water was up to a boil, but the second I throw them in, the water is going to cool itself down, and then I'm going to turn it down a little bit. It's hot enough, and it's totally fine. Let them cook for 2 to 3 minutes. Your sauce is ripping hot over there. And then once you're ready to take them out, just kind of give them a little mix so they're not sticking together, and toss those right into the pan. If a little bit of water comes over with them, that's totally fine, but the whole time that pan has been just ripping like that. Toss them in there, and you're good to go. We're going to mix these up for another minute or two until it really starts to reduce, and that's the entire dish. taste it now. If you want to add some salt, add some pepper, that's totally fine. Do whatever you need to get this to the flavor profile you're looking for. And just keep it going. You can see it's starting to really reduce now after another minute or so. If you want to give them a little toss, that's how confident I was that they weren't going to break. Really proud of myself there. And once you get to about this point, you can see that it's not super liquidy anymore, and I was very happy with that. We're going to now toss in around 1 to 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to cut it up into small enough pieces that it could kind of melt. And once you do that, that's your entire dish. Melt these in, and you're going to see that pan sauce really come together rapidly at this point. And that's the end of your dish. Get ready to plate it, and you are so done here. You're going to be so happy with this. This was a culmination of a year of planning, trying to figure out how to make this. I was making short ribs. I was making everything to try to see if I could get all these skills together, and I'm happy with it. Throwing it onto a plate now, you can see that that sauce is not too runny. It's not going all over the place. A bowl probably would have been a better choice, but retrospect here, you know, maybe next time I'll put it into a bowl. But that sauce is beautiful. It's thin, but it's also thick. It has great body because of all the collagen. Put a little Peck Romano over the top of it, and you're ready to go. I'm just so excited to taste this. A little more of that sauce just to really make sure we hammer in those flavors. And look at that. It's beautiful. It's everything I wanted from this dish. This is kind of based off Eataly also, which is one of my favorite, places to go get a nice quick bowl of pasta in New York City. And they have a great agnolotti. Theirs is better, but this is what I wanted it to be. And man, it's absolutely delicious. If you want to really test out your skills, try to make this. Look at how beautiful the insides are. Could be a little fattier and a little more juicy, but 10 out of 10 here.